Stepping out of the elevator to the 8th floor of the building, I'm greeted by fluorescent bulbs and fake wooden siding on the walls. Not what you'd expect for the decor of a theater a half block from Times Square. But walking down the narrow hall to the office of the Tank, you meet Trey Tatum. Trey is the general manager of this tiny theater company. He helped explain to me what the Tank really is.
In simplest terms, it's a nonprofit that gives free space to new and emerging artists. We give free performance space, free rehearsal space, a cut of the box office, and promotional support.
In a lot of ways, the Tank sounds like your normal arts nonprofit. And it is. But lately, a lot of small theaters like the Tank have had to close their doors for good. Manhattan Theater Source at Washington Square Park just announced that they will be closing in January, and this follows in the wake of many similar theaters who have been forced to close. Justin Krebs, one of the founders of the theater and president of its board, gave me some insight about how the Tank is managing to stay afloat.
What's made the Tank different than other small theaters that have had to close over the years is that we just haven't been smart enough to know when to die. We were chased out of one space by a bulldozer, one space by a massive sewage eruption, another space by a landlord doubling our rent. We have faced floods, we faced blackouts, and throughout it all, we never took the hint that maybe God was trying to close us down.
So, the Tank has faced its share of hardships, but the programming at the Tank may be the key to why it's been able to survive. Mike Rosenthal is another founding member of the Tank.
It's very broad and diverse in the range of programming. It is not just theater. It's not people doing one-act plays. It's not just people doing readings. It's not a comedy club. It's not an independent film theater. But it is a place where, so often in New York, those places are so kind of marginalized or strictly kind of separated from each other. Whereas in reality, it's a lot of the same people. I like going to see comedy occasionally. I like going to see independent movies occasionally. And so having a place where all of that kind of comes together, and you realize that there's kind of a nice overlap.
He's not just saying that. This week alone, there was a comedy show, a live electronic classical music concert, the first reading of a play, and a musical. All put on in the same space, all drawing a diverse crowd. Mike Rosenthal.
Not very many people are going to say, no, I'm not going to go spend $10 on that show.
Jen Della Vega, head of publicity and marketing, has more to add.
I do love the challenging programming that we have. It's not every day these people will get the opportunity to present their work, and I'm glad we're here for that. And I never would have thought I'd see a magnetic fields puppet show. Or geek-themed burlesque, or, it's just all of these combinations that everybody really would have gone to on my own, but here I'm working on and getting to know.
Oh, that's the other thing. When Jen paused our interview to take the phone call, I realized the second part of what makes the Tank unique is how hard all the volunteers and staff work to keep the place running.
Good afternoon, Tank.
Come to think of it, I had to interview Trey in the hallway outside of the theater while a show was going on in the evening because he was too busy working all day.
What specifically do you do for the Tank?
Sure. So the short answer is I'm the only full-time staff. And the short answer is that I do what Jen doesn't do, which is publicity and marketing. The longer answer is that part of my job is divided between the facility itself, making sure that it's in a condition that artists can come in and just beat the heck out of it every night and leave. We're also on top of concessions and other things like that. Part of my job is being someone in the office to do finances, to do development. Part of my job is to be a liaison between curators, between their artists, between our volunteers and artists, between the board and the curators, creating all these connections so that people are getting meaningful information that help them promote the Tank. I guess that's all of it. Cool. Those three things.
Not too much.
No. A very manageable workload.
Generally.
Just managed in a very general sense.
So clearly it's a combination of programming and staff dedication that have kept this small theater alive over the past 8 years. But maybe God had something to do with it as well.
Justin said that
there are points in the Tank's history when it seemed like God wanted the Tank to close.
A sewer line rupturing is one of them, I would think, or a building being torn down is one of them, I think. This happens to the Tank all the time, where like things get crazy, or things get really overbearing, or really overwhelming, and it's like, oh, this isn't $16,000 worth of debt at the end of the fiscal year when no one is giving because it's a hard economy. This is an insurmountable thing, and then somehow $16,000 comes in from people who have seen shows who didn't even know the Tank was a nonprofit, and when they hear the Tank is a nonprofit, their first thought is, oh, well, then I should give. Sometimes God does want the Tank to close, but sometimes God really wants the Tank to stay open.
And I think the people of New York want nonprofits like the Tank to stay open as well. From 46th Street in Times Square, I'm Emily Sawicki.